Paul, did I understand that the managers are going into closed session with the committee? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have two people in the waiting room that, two individuals that want to be here for the public hearing, and I will let them in at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Krista, do you have a
Yep,
copy?
we're live. Yep.
For some reason, I cannot get my chat box to show up again. I'm doing exactly what you said this morning. When I'm sharing my screen, I lose the ability to receive chat or enter a chat.
I'll remote in.
I don't know what you did. I was doing exactly the same thing.
It was just hidden underneath.
It's gone again.
Yep, just hit that chat again.
It's not showing up.
Do you see it? It's right there.
Yeah, I'll just slide it around so it's out of my way.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We ready to go?
I believe so. That clock on the wall is not right at all.
All right, are we live? Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. Welcome everyone. This is the meeting of the Dunn County Planning, Resource and Development Committee, along with also serving as a Land Conservation Committee for Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. Today's meeting also includes a public hearing, and so we're required to read the notice of that public hearing. So I'll do that first before we start any of our business or discussion. To all it may concern, public notice is hereby given to all residents in Dunn County that the Dunn County Land Conservation Committee will hold a public hearing on a proposed agricultural performance standards and manure storage and management ordinance, final draft, on December 22nd, 2020 at 9 a.m. by teleconference due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Instructions on providing comments during the public hearing will be included on the publicly noticed Land Conservation Planning, Resource and Development Committee meeting agenda. A copy of the proposed ordinance is available for public inspection by appointment at the Dunn County Land and Water Conservation Office, 3001 US Highway 12 East, Suite 240A, Menominee, Wisconsin, 54751. Contact Dan Prestebach, County Conservationist, at 715-231-6535 with questions, to schedule an appointment to review the ordinance or to obtain a copy of the proposed ordinance. A copy of the proposed ordinance is available for public inspection on the Dunn County webpage. Excuse me. With that, let's call the meeting to order.
Tom, I just have to interrupt. I really apologize, but something happened with my screen. I don't see anything. So Krista, could you remote in?
Well, no.
It has to do with the chat feature, and I'm done using chat for today because it is not working.
You're still sharing your screen.
I see my calendar on my screen. That's all I see. Okay, I got it back. Okay, I apologize.
Okay, we're good to go. Get the agenda up there, Tom. All right, so there's the agenda. Excuse me. Let's call the meeting to order, do the call of the roll. I see from our Zoom screen that all members are present, including our County Board Chair, Dave Bartlett. Approval of the minutes from the December 8th meeting. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I will move approval of the December 8th, 2020 minutes.
Supervisor Morehouse, a second.
Supervisor Bjork.
Supervisor Bjork, thank you. Any questions, corrections? All in favor of approval of the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Now we will, there are two opportunities for public comment today. One is just a general public comment section. And do we have any, and then we'll have a public comment section and testimony during the public hearing also. But do we have anyone who wanted to do public comment today?
Nobody for public comment today.
Okay. So the hearing is scheduled for 9 o'clock. We were thinking maybe we could get some other business done before we start that. So let's move into that. The first one to be number 6. Staff report, status on the update of additional proposed revisions to the draft land division condominium and surveying regulations ordinance.
And I can
yeah, Tom, why don't you take that? Okay.
Handle that, Mr. Chair. So good morning, everyone. The PR&D committee had intended to hold a public hearing on the draft land division ordinance this morning. That hearing has since been canceled. There are portions of the draft ordinance that I believe warrant further discussion by the committee and staff. These items have been identified during further internal review of the draft, as well as from input I have, as well as from public input I have received. Some of the items are, very minor in nature. They were either errors or simply overlooked items or were missed. Other items are more substantive in nature. Rather than engage in a detailed discussion of the recommended changes, Chair Quinn requested that at today's meeting, I simply provide a very brief summary of the portions of the ordinance we intend to make revisions to, rather than engage the committee in a detailed discussion. So with that, we'll be making recommendations in the following areas. The definitions section, particularly how we define the terms contiguous tract, lot, and remnant. Section 16.062 sub C, which addresses conveyances between adjoiners. And lastly, section 16.08 classification of land divisions. More specifically, how the county will manage the number of new parcels being created. Currently, property subject to county zoning is regulated by the zoning ordinance with a density-based approach. The question that comes into play is this: in the unzoned townships, do we want to regulate how many new parcels a landowner or developer can create? If the answer is yes, then the committee should consider either a density-based approach, similar to what has been adopted in the zoning ordinance, or possibly an approach that limits a specific number of splits over a specified period of time. If the answer is no, so again, the question, do we want to regulate new parcels in the unzoned townships, how many a landowner or developer can create? If the answer to that question is no, then any regulation would be the responsibility of the respective town. Corporation Council and I have begun work on a revised draft incorporating these items, which we intend to present those items to the committee through a staff report at our next meeting scheduled for January 12th. We feel these items are extremely important and should be discussed and taken into consideration prior to holding a public hearing for the ordinance. Logistically, incorporating changes at this point is much more practical and efficient than making amendments to the ordinance in the future. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Tom. Best to get it right than to come back and try and change it later. The other item, I have 7A, discuss and set committee meeting schedule for 2021. We have been meeting every second and fourth Tuesday. If we don't have adequate agenda items, we may cancel one of those meetings. Happens occasionally. Is that schedule acceptable for the committee, or does anyone want to suggest a change? Looks like we are in agreement that we can continue that, so we will. The last item that we might finish before the hearing would be number 9, consideration of actions taken by the Planning, Resource and Development Committee, a resolution authorizing participation in the 2021 Recreational Trails Grant Program. That was in our packet. Dan, you want to talk about that?
Yes, I can. This resolution is for a kind of a separate grant from DNR. We normally get our money for snowmobile bridges and trails through the regular snowmobile and bridge trail program. And that's the annual resolution that we bring, and that will come again in January or February to participate in 21-22. But because one of the bridges, which is a $60,000 bridge, is located on DNR property, DNR is able to tap this recreational trails grant program, which I believe is some federal money that they get back from gas tax that's collected on snowmobiles. And they would just like us to have a separate resolution to go along with that grant application. So instead of taking $60,000 out of their regular snowmobile bridge account, they can get $30,000 from this account that's, I guess, somewhat underused. So they're asking us to make that application for half of the money. So we have the full amount for this bridge in our 2021 budget, but we will have to amend that budget to accept $30,000 from this grant and $30,000 from the other grant. But
Okay, any questions of Dan? Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I so move to approve.
Supervisor Anderson, thank you.
And I
Supervisor
second
Kinnear
it,
seconds.
Supervisor.
Any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
okay, and
Okay.
Tom, we'll need a signature on that. We'll try to get that to you.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Hard to track down sometimes, but that one does not need to go to the county board. They will accept the
Okay, all right. Well,
resolution.
we are at 9:45 or 8:45. No, 9:40.
That clock on the wall is
That's
not
wrong, isn't
correct.
it? Yeah,
Yes.
I'm looking at the clock on the wall. I shouldn't do that. Okay, what time is it, Tom? I can't.
8:46.
So we are a little early. Why don't we take a 10-minute break and just drink of water, a cup of coffee, and then come back in 10 minutes at 8:55, and we'll get ready for the public hearing. Is that okay with everybody?